Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Everything Begins with a Dream. This is today's webinar with the Alliance's webinar series, and our webinar features Self-Advocate Brian Anzac from Livingston County Advocates in Action, one of the Alliance's member groups in Pontiac, Illinois. It also features Tracy Wyatt, the ally and advisor for Livingston County Advocates in Action, and Kristen Holzhauer, the librarian from the Pontiac Public Library. I'm Christine Beck with the Alliance, and we're glad to have you here today. As a reminder, all attendees are in listen-only mode. If you wish to communicate with the presenters, go ahead and use your control panel to type in your question, comment, or contribution, and we will read it out loud. Today's webinar is being recorded, so if you have folks that have missed the webinar, don't worry, we'll be sending out a link so that you can access the recording. So a little bit about the Alliance. We are a statewide team of self-advocacy groups in Illinois. We work together to make life better in our communities, and we also work to make services better in our state. The Alliance wants groups from around the state to speak together with one loud voice. We know that we can do more when we all work together, and truly this webinar is representative of people working together to do more. The Alliance currently has 25 member groups all around the state of Illinois. No matter where you live or work, there's probably a member group close to you. We have groups in Zion, Illinois and McHenry. We have several groups in the Chicago area and Collier counties, including Alsop, Brookfield, Chicago Heights, Homewood, and Joliet. We're coming to you live from Pontiac, Illinois, where we have a member group. We also have a group in Rock Island, LaSalle, Peru, Beardstown, Jacksonville, Bloomington, Decatur, Champaign, Monticello, Charleston, Alton, and Edwardsville. So on behalf of the Alliance and all the self-advocates who speak up and speak out about the things that are important to them, we welcome you to our webinar. So let's meet the presenters. In the center is Brian Anzac. So Brian, would you like to say good morning and welcome?
Good morning and welcome to the webinar.
All right. And on the left of Brian is Kristen Holzhauer. She is the librarian here at Pontiac Public Library.
Good morning. Welcome.
And on the right of Brian is Tracy Wyatt, and she is the ally and advisor to Livingston County Advocates in Action.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
All right. So now you've met the presenters. So let's hear about their story. And again, it's Everything Begins with a Dream. So Brian, we know that this idea of starting a book club, it started with an idea.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Okay, I went to Speak Up and Speak Out, and I went to a breakout session, which was called Start Your Next Chapter Book Club, which I enjoyed it, and I was happy about getting it started.
All right, so it started with an idea. You went to that breakout session at Speak Up and Speak Out, and it was about starting your own book club. So you had this idea. What was that idea?
That I would like to get a book club started here for LCAA, for the individuals here in Pontiac. And
oh, okay. So you went to Springfield. You heard this great information. You were all excited, and you had this idea. I want to start a book club in Pontiac, Illinois. And we know that's where things start, right? They start with an idea. They start with a dream.
Yes.
And let's see what happened next, because sometimes we have these dreams and there's obstacles and there are roadblocks. So what kind of obstacles did you experience?
Okay, to join this book club, we couldn't afford it because it was costing too much money. But then I was like, okay, we'll look, we'll try to talk, we'll talk. And then we finally decided to go and see what books we can find that are cheap And then we bought one, and then we started doing one here at the library. Then we met Christian, and she kind of started to help us out with the books, and that's how it got started. That was the obstacle.
Okay, so one of the big obstacles is you did some research and you found out this is going to cost a lot of money. And instead of saying, well, okay, that's it, folks, we can't do it, you decided to say, well, maybe there is a way to move that obstacle or
Yes.
remove that obstacle.
Yes.
And so what I heard you share is you researched books.
Yes.
Like, oh, we could get books someplace else. Maybe we don't have to join that book club. We can just create our own. All right. I like that. So let's see what happened next. So there was finding a way, and you mentioned some of this, but Tracy, I know that Brian shared this idea or this dream with you, and you know, we talk about that a lot, that we have to sometimes share our dreams with other people because they can help us to find different ways.
Absolutely.
We need each other. Remember, we said we're a lot stronger when we work together. So tell us about finding a way. How did you learn about this idea?
Well, like Brian said, I actually attended this breakout session with Brian at the Speak Out conference, and he was very excited, as I was too, and to be a part of this organization that helped you with the books and all that. It was going to cost quite a bit. So Brian and I thought, at first I was like, oh, Brian, that's a lot of money. I don't think we're going to do it. But Brian was so persistent, and he came back again and said, I think we can do this on our own. Why can't we just get books on our own? And I thought, well, he's got a point. So we went to research about buying books, and we were like, gosh, that's going to be kind of expensive too. But someone came up with the idea to go to thriftbooks.com. So we're like, okay, that's an option. So we went on that website, and we found a list of books, and they were pretty good price, like $3 or so per book. So we decided, since it's our first time, we'll just get one book and we'll share it, and with 8 other individuals. And then we had to come up with the idea of the location. And it was very important to Brian that we go off-site from our day programming. He wanted this group to be a group that would have a strong interest in reading and a strong interest in books the way he does. So we decided we were going to try to find a nice quiet location that would be away from the day program. And we looked quite a bit, didn't we? We called some of the restaurants around town, and then we kind of thought, well, it's going to be kind of noisy and busy. And we also thought too that we felt bad taking up a table, that we probably should have bought something or one there where we were there. And so we kept just kind of calling around and around. And I believe Brian's the one that said, why not the library? Why would we not think that?
Good job, Brian.
Good job. Why wouldn't we start there? I don't know. But that's why sometimes 2 brains together make a lot better ideas. So we're like, okay, so that's when we got in touch with the library. And then we had another with transportation. We were like, oh, okay, how are we going to get there, you know, and make sure that everybody has a way to get there? And so we kind of batted around some ideas, and this time we had been in touch with Kristen, and she was great. She said, I want you guys here, and we'll help you find a way. And we just so happened to look out. We went and talked to our transportation department, and they were willing to help us out.
Nice. So as you describe that whole process, I'm hearing a couple things that I think are really important to all of us as we think about these ideas we have for our lives or the dreams we have for our lives. I hear that sometimes you got to make a plan and you might have to do some research. I heard a lot about persistence and determination, like not letting anybody tell you no when it's really important to you, and that you looked at options and choices. And sometimes we feel like we don't have any options and choices, but when we start thinking about it and having other people help us out, maybe we do have more options and choices than we think we do. So you found a way with books
Yep.
Even just, okay, we'll buy one book and we'll share it. And that was a great place to start. You found that location and you sorted out transportation.
Yeah.
And then you discovered a partner.
Yeah.
And this is where Kristen comes in at. So Kristen, tell us about this discovering a partner.
Well, I received a phone call one afternoon from Tracy, and she explained a need and a dream that Brian had. And we at the library want to provide services for everyone in our community. So it was kind of a no-brainer for me. I was incredibly happy to hear of a need that could be met, and incredibly happy to open up the doors and welcome them. And it's been a great partnership since, and I'm very excited to have them here. So
some of the things I see that you helped is you gave them ideas on how to start the book club, although Brian already had this idea. You also were able to, because of that connection, provide a meeting space. And sometimes it wasn't just about the space, it's about people who may have not had an opportunity to learn how to use the library, or maybe have had not some good experiences with using the library that now, wow, I'm part of my community. You also helped with learning about the interests and reading level of the members, and I like this, that you have helped Brian figure out a possible list of books to read.
Sure.
The other thing I thought was so wonderful, tell us about this. You located copies of the book so that everybody didn't have to share one book. Tell us about that.
We don't want anybody to be without a copy of a book, and we certainly don't want anyone having to spend money on a copy of a book if they don't have to. The nice thing about local libraries, at least our library specifically, is that we're in a consortium of 200 libraries across the state. So if we don't have the item in our collection, we have access to the collections of those 200 libraries across the state. And so when Brian came to us and said he needed books for a group of 6 to 10 people, it really was no big deal because we know we don't have 6 to 10 copies of the same book in our collection, but I know I can pull from those other libraries. And that's what we've done. The book that they're currently reading is a trilogy, and Tracy's been really good about keeping me up to date about where they're at so that I can bring in books and put them on hold for other libraries and have them ready for them. So,
and a couple of things. Some people may not be aware what a trilogy is. Explain that.
A trilogy is a book series that contains 3 books. So currently they're reading the My Side of the Mountain, My Side of the Mountain trilogy. And there's 3 books in that. They're on book 2 right now, about to go to book 3, I believe. Yep. And the nice thing about that particular book is that there has been a movie made about the book. So I decided that I would suggest to Tracy and the book club that when they are done, we'll throw a movie day here for the book club. So when it is done and over with, the library is going to throw a movie day, and they can watch the movie that the book is, or that is based on the books, and we'll bring in popcorn and snacks and have kind of a fun day afterwards.
So that's going that extra mile. I know that Brian and Tracy also shared with me, in addition to making sure that everybody has a copy of the book, you also make sure that they can have it longer than maybe the traditional 1 week or 2 week checkout period.
Yes, we do. And that is pretty standard practice for all of our book clubs, but we wanted to make sure, especially with this particular book club, that they not be rushed, that they be given the time to read at their level, have the discussion time that they needed on the topic that they were doing. So I think we've extended it 6 weeks on each book that we've received. Typically our checkout period is 2 weeks. So, but yes, we're happy to do that as part of the book club.
Well, let's learn more in this journey of Everything Begins with a Dream. So Brian, tell us a bit about the book club.
Okay, we meet every Thursday, 1 week at the library, then 1 week at the book club members' home. Brian makes and brings coffee. Members sometimes make and bring snacks. Members volunteer to read out loud. All are welcome to read. After a few pages, the group stops to talk about what they just heard.
So there's a lot of discussion then.
Yes, there is.
And Brian, I think some people might want to know this. Do you have to know how to read or be a good reader to be in a book club?
No, because if there's words you can't, if there's words you can't not say or whatever, the members of the book club can help you out and tell you and say what it is, or read it, or say it, and then you don't have to be a really good reader. You can just join the book club.
And what about, I know sometimes when I'm reading a book, there'll be a really big word and I have either no clue how to pronounce it or I have no clue what it means. What happens when something like that comes up?
Well, we come to I'll ask Shacey or Christina, and they tell me what they say what it is, but sometimes if they can't figure it out, they'll go on their phone and
We Google it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. Google's your friend. So, and I see that members volunteer to read out loud. So if I'm not in a reading mood today, I could just say, I pass.
Yeah.
Hey, I like that. You know, we're all doing this together. So tell us about some of these pictures here. What are these pictures of?
We are at the library.
So that's one of your meetings at the
Yes,
library.
that's one of our meetings at the library.
All right.
We have a great room.
Yes, we do.
That they let us use, and it's a nice quiet space.
Yes.
It's large and very accommodating. So.
All right, so this is showing the book club as they meet at the library, but as Brian said, that they meet every Thursday and they alternate one Thursday at the library, one Thursday at a book club member's house. And so tell us what's happening in these pictures.
Okay, we are having a snack while we're reading and drinking water. We're reading and then we're discussing, and this is at one of the readers, book club members' places.
Okay.
They say at the snack in our book that we talked about, the character had to live off deer meat and venison. So
Yeah.
I brought in some deer sausage in that, and so we got to where, and that came from Kristen's idea actually.
Yeah,
She was great about saying all these ideas about things to go with the book to bring it in, and I was like, yeah, why don't we? So we tried to bring in. Someone brought in taught us how he started a fire was with a flint, and
Yeah.
so her dad had a flint that she could sell us.
Nice.
It's been very, very interesting too.
Awesome. So we're going to learn about some of the books that you've been doing, but first here is a picture of the book club. I'm not sure if that's all your members or if a couple are missing, but on the day it was taken, here's some of the folks. All right. So some of the book club members, here's what they've had to say. I love that we have a place to go outside of our day program. So for a lot of people in Illinois, they go to a day program every day and they do work or they learn things or they go out into the community. But having a book club meet outside of the day program, which was a huge dream that you had, they love that they have a place to go. It's quiet and I'm able to hear the reading. I love that we stop and talk about the book. It really helps me to understand what's going on in the story and makes that story really come to life for me. And you guys talked about bringing in deer meat and deer sausage and bringing in a flint, to try and start a fire. We learn new things from books. Books can take us to many wonderful places, can't they?
Yes.
And I like this one. I've become a better reader and I've learned many new words. What else do they have to say, Brian?
I enjoy being with others who enjoy reading. I like that we help each other out when we don't understand something or have trouble with a word we don't know. I just love to hear the stories. I like making new friends in my community, like Christian and all of the librarians who are always smile and say hello.
So again, it's about building community too, because a lot of folks who are part of this book club also live in this community. And now they have expanded their community beyond maybe where they work or where they live to now it includes the library and the relationships. And now do you ever see people outside of the library, maybe when you're at the grocery store or other places?
Yeah.
See? There you go. This is all good. And it all started with your idea. I like that. So here was the first book that you read. And what was the book called?
Don't Stop the Music.
Don't Stop the Music. All right. And so some of the things that the book club members said, Brian's going to read for us.
I love mysteries, and this book was exciting and
Suspenseful.
Yeah, it kept us guessing. The characters in the story were individuals who had cerebral palsy and had lived in an institution. They told us how life was so different now that they lived in the community. I enjoyed the fact that even though these two individuals communicated with a communication board and used a wheelchair to move around, their voices was heard and they were able to catch the car thieves.
So they kind of were the heroes in the story.
Yes.
But wait, there's more that people said.
I learned that not everybody is willing to really get to know people before they judge them. I get really mad sometimes when the people in the community treated the Jays with disrespect just because they communicated differently than others. I couldn't believe how people could be so mean and others be so kind. All it takes is getting to know someone to find out that we are more alike than we are different.
And these are the things we learn from books, things that are just not about the story, but things that we can carry and take with us throughout the rest of our lives. So, Tracy, what did you think about this story?
Oh, I love this story. At first, when Brian and I were looking at it, I thought, oh, it's interesting. It's about car thieves. And I thought, okay, you know, it's not necessarily my type, but I'll go for it. You know, there's no romantic story involved, but hey. And the more we got into it, the more I was just really like, wow. I mean, I learned so much about the different types of people in the community and maybe how we look at things. And by changing our perspective on things, it opens up a whole new world. And people sometimes maybe appear like they're one thing and they're really not. We learned a lot about that too, about people thinking and putting on I guess you call a fake facade, and then finding out later that maybe that's not really who they truly are.
Yeah.
So and it was just really good. I really enjoyed it, and I think everybody else too. And even about the car thieves, I was even starting to get into that, and I'm like, holy cow.
Well, what did you think about the book, Ryan?
Okay, I liked it because their friends like them because they met a lot of these nice friends and they treat them what they like supposed to be treated. And then there's other people like there's a teacher who was really mean to them, but her husband kind of yelled at her about it because it was just not right in what she said to him, and I enjoyed it and I liked it really a lot.
I think it talked a lot about having advocates. It talked a lot about people who you can trust, having them in your circle.
Yeah.
You know, and helping being your advocate for you. So if you are not able to communicate the best way to get it to other people, there's other people who are on your team that are willing to go to bat for you and help you get your goals too. So it kind of really tied in perfectly to
the dream that you had. And while other people can be advocates for you, Brian, and other people, you right now are being an advocate to someone who's hearing this maybe for the first time and thinking, I'd like to do that in my community.
Yeah.
So awesome. And here's something that I learned before you go into the story that you're reading right now is that, Brian, you would read a book or look over the book and check it out first and think, okay, is this something that my book club would enjoy? And then you'd ask the different members, hey, I read this book. This is a little bit about what it is. Is this a good next book? So tell me a little bit about that.
Okay. When she came up with me about my side of the mountain, I thought it would be good because it's about the wilderness and him running away from home, and I just think it would be interesting because of the wilderness. And
all right, so you're currently working on this, right?
Yes.
Where are you at in the book? Kind of in the beginning, the middle, towards the end?
We're kind of towards the end of the book.
Getting towards the end.
Of the second book.
of the second book. All right, so I'm going to move this down so you can read what folks have said so far about this book.
We like the fact that Sam wasn't happy with where he lived. It was very crowded where he lived, and he felt like he just needed his own space. He wanted a place to call his very own. A lot of us can relate to that feeling. We enjoy learning all the different ways you can live off the land. For example, he used turtle shells as soup bowls and would watch to see what the animals ate. Then he knew it was safe to eat it too.
Now, when you have your party, are you guys going to bring in turtle shells?
No.
Soup bowls?
No.
No? Okay, popcorn. Okay, that works too. All right, so here's some other things people said.
Even though he was out there in the mountains all alone, he never really felt alone. He made friends with animals and a few people who happened to be lost. He learned so much from everyone and from the land. It was really cool that he took a baby falcon and raised it, and the falcon would hunt and protect for him. They become very close.
So they were kind of advocates for each other.
Yes.
Nice.
We have enjoyed trying new things. Since Sam, the boy in the book, ate deer meat, we had someone bring in deer meat to try. We all really enjoyed it. I really liked that he got to live his life the way he wanted to. His voice wasn't getting heard at his home, but when he set up camp, he was able to make choices like what he wanted his house to look like, what he wanted to eat, and who he allowed to be in his life.
All right, so having that control, you getting to say what you wanted, when you want it, and how you want it. Now, Kristen, I have a question for you. For people who are considering connecting with their local public library.
I sure hope they do.
Yes, oh, absolutely, to start a book club. Are librarians able to not only help you maybe identify some possible books, but do they know enough about those books to say, hey, here's some ways that you can really bring it to life, like the deer meat and like the flint?
Yes. Librarians are really good at what we call reader's advisory, and that's advising readers towards titles and books that would be of interest and of their appropriate reading level. We have lots of resources in libraries that we can pull from to help us with that. And the book that they've chosen is not necessarily a new title. It's an older title. It's one that I knew of personally. And I knew that there would be ways for Tracy to pull in those real life experiences from the book to make it more relevant and interesting to the book club.
So for those of you out there saying, oh, we'd love a book club, but we wouldn't know how to bring that in, you don't have to know. That's the beauty of building this community and reaching out for resources and options and choices. You get to be the expert on what you want, and you bring other experts in to help you. So, Brian, what have you learned throughout this whole process?
Okay, I've always wanted to go to Speak Up and Speak Out, which I did. I'm kind of glad that I went to the breakout session for the Next Chapter Book Club, and I was really happy with it. I was surprised on where it started, and it's because it started at Ohio State University, and which I was excited. It's like, okay, I'm gonna work with this, and then I talked to Tracy. I kept on talking to Tracy. If I bugged you, Tracy, I'm sorry.
Sometimes you have to bug people when you have a dream.
But I really wanted to get this started, so that's why I kept on bugging you. And that's how I got the book club started.
You said something about it started at Ohio State, the Next Chapter Book Club, and as you shared that, you looked real excited about it. So do you have some kind of connection with Ohio or Ohio State?
I have relatives that live in Ohio, but I also had a cousin that went to Ohio State Buckeye, or Ohio State University. So I was like, okay, that's when I heard that, I was like, okay, this is going to keep going. This has got me started.
All right. So it was a little bit of a spark, but it added a little bit of fuel. Let's fan that flame. And I see some other things you learned is, or other things you learned are, sorry about that, not to let obstacles get in my way. You heard Brian saying, sorry, Tracy, if I bugged you a lot, but you know, sometimes we have to bug people. We have to keep on speaking up and speaking out. There you go. I've learned about problem solving. Okay, I could have just said, it's going to be too expensive to be part of this other book club. But you didn't. No. You said there's got to be another way, and that leads into the communication. Yeah. I have to keep communicating what's important to me. And group decision making, because you're asking the group about different things and the give and the take and everything it takes to have this rich, full life. So thank you for learning all that. Yep. And so, Tracy, what have you learned in this process?
Well, I've learned about the flexibility that, you know, you may have it set in stone in your head how you think it should go, and realizing that, oh, you know what, maybe if I looked at it a little differently, or maybe if I tried a different option, I would be amazed at how much it would work out. What's not on there, too, is the librarian. I had no idea she was so knowledgeable.
Oh, she's sweet.
Everything that she did. I mean, my experience with the library is like overdue books, you got your fine, right? But when I got in here, I was like, she has so much more to give. She went and took it to a whole new level for me. She is amazing she has like even questions. And if you wanted to ask, that would make us go deeper.
Discussion points.
Yeah, discussion points to make us go even deeper into the story. She was so good about giving me ideas, and I just felt like I could go to her and just really keep motivated with it. So I had no idea that you know, librarians were such a useful, you know, source of, a source. Also perseverance, which is fun to say because, as Brian would say, he came to me the first time like, we'll get the book club. And then when I looked at it and realized it was kind of expensive, and we looked at it like, well, Brian, we'll have to figure something out. And the next day, here he comes down to my office.
Did you figure it out?
Yeah. What are we going to do about it?
I sure did.
And that was so true. And the next day, he comes down to my office like, what are we going to do? I'm like, you're right. And so we kept it up and kept it up. And I was just so inspired by the perseverance to realize that, hey, you know what? If you believe in something, maybe some other people don't, but keep at them. Keep at them, keep at them. And, you know, it's amazing what you can achieve with just a little bit of perseverance. And I learned that people, like I said, are amazing. Going back to the library and watching Brian just blossom with his book club is just unreal. I never dreamt that it would go from something, just a spark of an interest.
It started off small, but now I just want to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and I just don't know.
The sky's the limit, Brian.
Yeah, I know that.
I know.
But at least the book club wants to grow bigger and bigger and bigger, and it just.
We have a lot of people who have just really come forth and said that this is something that they're very interested in and working on it. So it's just been unreal to see something so, just an idea.
Yeah.
How the idea just
goes big.
Yeah, goes big.
Well, you never know where the inspiration or the ideas are going to come from. And so if you think that you can't do it, think again, because you can. And so, Kristen, what have you learned throughout this process?
Well, I'll echo a lot of what Brian and Tracy have said, and that is, you know, don't let obstacles get in your way. Keep an open mind. Be open to new ideas, and reach out to your libraries. They offer so much more than you can imagine. And here at my library, you know, we wanted to make that community connection. We didn't realize that there was a need with the Futures group here in town, but I'm glad that Tracy came to me and said, hey, there's a need. And we want everyone in our community to be involved here in the library. And so this was a perfect match. It was a perfect fit. And they forever have a spot here if they want it.
Yes.
So. Yay!
Which we will keep on doing it.
And
sorry, I've been an emotional week.
We have happy tears from Tracy.
Yeah.
We have happy tears. And Kristen, you shared this poem that hangs in your library that you said has always spoken to you.
It does.
And so would you read this out loud
I would
for
be happy
us?
to. This
Thank
is
you.
a poem by Angela Clark. It is, a library is not just a reference service. It is a place for the vulnerable. From the elderly gentleman whose only remaining human interaction is with library staff, to the isolated young mother who relishes the support and friendship that grows from a baby rhyme time session, to a slow-moving 30-something woman collecting her CDs. Libraries are a haven. In a world where community services are being ground down to nothing, libraries are vital. Their worth cannot be measured in books alone.
Why does that speak to you?
Well, specifically to this partnership, it speaks to me because libraries need to be a place where the answer is yes. Too often, the answer is no. Too often, we hear, no, we can't, and no, it's just not possible. And it deters people from realizing their dreams. This was a dream Brian had, and libraries in a community where those answers are too often no. Libraries are a place of yes. And if I can do nothing today, I want more than anything to encourage people to reach out to their libraries, because we are a place of yes. We are a place where we want communities to be involved. And the sky's the limit. There's lots of possibilities there. So if you're in my area, please call me. If there's a way I can help you out and partner with you to provide services to your group, call me.
And for those of you who are attending or who will be listening to the recording, reach out to your public library if there's something that interests you. Certainly reach out to me and I can get you connected with Brian and Tracy and Christina at Futures Unlimited. Ask the librarian at your library to reach out to Kristen at the Pontiac Public Library. You don't have to do it by yourself. You're not alone in this journey. We are there to help you. We're there to encourage you. We're there to be your advocates, to help you to get something going. And once you get it going, then you can help somebody else, right?
Yes.
Because we are all in this together. And so now's the time that I really like, is when you get to ask questions, share comments, or provide considerations. So go ahead and use your control panel and type in questions, comments, and considerations. We'll read them out loud, and we'd love to share what you're thinking. What did you learn? What did you like? Do you like books? Do you want to start a book club? Do you want to tell Brian and Tracy and Kristen how awesome they are? You can do that too. So go ahead. Don't be shy. Use your control panel. And one thing that we know is going to be happening while you're doing that, Tracy, you're going to be turning over the reins of the book club to Christina.
Yeah.
So what advice would you have for an advisor or an ally of a book club?
So listen to the people who are in the book club. They will guide you. They will tell you what you like. They will tell you what interests them. Be sure to ask questions. Always be sure that I usually wait until after we've been through a few pages or move to the next chapter to stop and make sure everybody is understanding what's going on in the book, because I think that brings life to everybody. You know, it brings the story, gets everybody excited too. And I know myself personally, I had dyslexia, and so in school reading was so hard for me. And it's been, I love to read, and I never realized that I truly love, because I had so many people tell me I wasn't good at it. So it's important to me to let everybody else know too that you don't have to be this great reader to read, you know, or to enjoy books. So I think that's what I would say, is listen to your group and let them be your guide.
All right, so we have some questions, comments, and considerations rolling in. This comes from the folks at CTF Advocacy Center in Charleston, Illinois. Woo-hoo, we're giving a shout out. They said, we enjoyed the presentation and have been thinking about starting a club too. Thanks for the great information. Absolutely. And the neat thing
That's a good point.
about CTF Advocacy Center is they are right across the street from the library. So transportation,
They could just walk there during this. They could just walk there.
they might be able to, but you know, maybe you want to meet someplace else. Maybe
Well,
like
yeah.
you guys chose 1 week at the library, 1 week someplace
But I'm
else.
just saying, I would start at the library.
Start at the, all right, I like that.
Good for you.
Okay, so, and we have Jamie Ricketts, and I know you know Jamie.
Yeah.
She is a self-advocate from Livingston County Advocates in Action here in Pontiac, Illinois. Jamie has also been a presenter before. She's done a webinar, and Jamie said, going to miss you, Tracy. So yes, Tracy will be missed. Thank you for that. So anybody else have a question, comment, or consideration that you'd like to share? Go ahead and use your control panel to type it in. I'll ask you, Kristen, if groups aren't going to the library, is there a way for librarians to reach out and just let it be known that we can help you start a book club?
Sure. Libraries tend to have websites and Facebook pages.
Oh.
Pontiac Public Library has one. Our website is pontiacpubliclibrary.org, and our Facebook page can be found using the search field Pontiac Public Library IL.
Okay.
Typically, libraries will use their website and their Facebook pages to announce activities that are going on. And, you know, just coming into the library sometimes is a good way of seeing what's going on an everyday basis. But in terms of us doing outreach from our end, it would be through business partnerships, community partnerships, and advertising through our website. We have another book club here at the library that is about to see its 21st year. So
wow.
Book clubs are something that the library has done for a long time, and it's really nice to have a second one that reaches a different population within the community and meets a need within the community. So.
I hear a lot of self-advocates say that they would like to learn more about computers or have access to computers. Do a lot of libraries have computer labs or computer classes for learners?
Most libraries do, yes. Here at the Pontiac Public Library, we have 10 public computers that offer free internet access and a Microsoft Office package. With a library card, you get 2 hours free access. Without a library card, we can grant you 30 minutes. Of free access, but we also have a public hotspot. So if you happen to have your own device, we have for free Wi-Fi, and then you can use our public hotspot to print to our public printers here in the library.
Nice.
So,
all right. So as Kristen said, the library is just, it's more than just books. It can be the center of the community. People come, they get to learn about different things. I know before we started, Kristen was sharing that during the summer there'll be some activities here that involve some slithery things and creepy crawly things.
We have a big summer reading program.
Yeah, summer reading program, but there's, you know, other times they have speakers come in to talk about job seeking or show pictures from travels, and, you know, and if your library isn't doing that, you can always suggest it. You know, I mean, the library's there for everyone. And we had another comment. Livingston County Advocates in Action from Pontiac, Illinois says, good job. Yes, good job. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to ask Christina. Christina's also in the room. She is going to be the ally and advisor to the book club. So she's just learning about it also. What excites you about being the ally and advisor of the book club?
I would just say I really like spending time with everyone, and I love our discussions that we have after we read a few chapters and stuff. And everybody has some wonderful ideas.
Yeah, I like that too. We all come from different places and spaces and life experiences, and having that connection with other people. We have a deeper understanding of people. Brian, I'll let you close it out. It doesn't look like we have any more questions, comments, or considerations. So what would your final words to everybody be?
My final words would be, please go to your library and start a book club, because the librarians can help you get the books. And if you start a book club, you can get the books. You can check the books out longer than the 2 weeks. If you guys would start a book club, it's really fun. It's really interesting. And you learn new things, and you'll enjoy it.
You'll enjoy it. Did you ever think that when you were traveling down to speak up and speak out in Springfield, Illinois, that this is what would have happened?
No, I did not.
You didn't anticipate that?
No, I didn't. Because when I went to that breakout session, I was like, okay, I didn't think that was going to happen or whatever, but I come back and it happened. And
it happened.
And I broke the auspice of cold and got this started.
So you never know when your next one bright idea or dream is going to happen, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Yes.
Okay, so just be open to it,
Yes.
right? All right. So I don't see any other further questions, comments, or consideration. I'd like to share the Alliance contact information. We have Megan Norland, Tara Wicki, myself, Christine Beck, and Leanne Roth. Our website is selfadvocacyalliance.org, and you can find us and like us on Facebook. As a reminder, this webinar was recorded. I will be sending out the link so that folks can access the recording. On behalf of the Alliance, I would like to thank Brian for having the dream. I'd like to thank you for sharing the dream with Tracy, and Tracy, you hearing the dream. I'd like to thank you both for then taking the next step to reach out to Kristen at the library, and Kristen, for everything you've done.
Yeah.
And I think we'll continue to do to fan these flames. And also to Christina, who will pick up the ball or the book and carry it down the field a little bit longer. We thank you for that.
Communicating with each other for books.
Yep.
I'm the president.
And Brian takes his role as president, if you haven't noticed, he takes it very seriously. And that's an awesome thing. All right. So thank you, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful day. Remember, pick up a book, read. It's good for you. It takes you to a lot of places.
Yes, and please start your own book club.
And please start your own book club. All right. Bye, everyone.